Yo, what is going on, people? Welcome to Throwdown, episode 486. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I'm joined by Emilio Lopez.
What's up, people? How's it going?
Carlos Romero.
Yo, yo, yo.
Brett Murdoch. I'll give him a minute.
What's up, people?
There he is.
Yo.
Richard Bailey Jr.
What's up, everybody?
And Brian Manjoma.
What's up? What's up? What's up?
All right, guys, you already know, man. We're back with another one. We don't know what's going on with Chris. Hopefully he'll show up. But I'm not even going to waste any time, man, because we were already going crazy before the show started, man. We got to talk about Hellblade 2, people. The game is out, and since it is an exclusive, there's controversy, but we'll get to that. So, yeah, Richard is reviewing it for the Coalition, and Manny has also played a good chunk of the game. So I'll let these two kind of, riff off and, we'll jump in, ask questions and all that. But, Rich, you could start us off, man. What do you think of Hellblade 2, The Revenge?
Well, first and foremost, one minor correction. I'm actually not the reviewer of this game. Ooh. It's our very good friend, Danny Martinez.
Oh, shout out to Danny. Oh, I didn't know that, yeah.
Yeah, he's working on a review, so stay tuned for that. But I have been playing the game. I've seen a lot of the scores, a lot of the critiques, so on and so forth. So far, I mean, I haven't finished the game yet. I believe Manny is very close to finishing it. But what I have played so far, I mean, I'm enjoying the game, no doubt about it. I know people have criticized the puzzles in the game. They have criticized the combat in the game. These are things that, I could understand the critiques for sure.
The one thing about a lot of it, and that's actually my biggest critique of this game, is it doesn't feel like a leap over the previous one as far as the day-to-day business you do in the game, right? You're still, looking at visual puzzles. You're still, they do add some additional type of puzzle styles, but it really is just like matching the symbols, flipping things up and down. And like a lot of it is just like, it doesn't, and definitely the combat still feels just as sluggish. I feel like it's even more sluggish this time around. Like, I feel like I can't counter for anything. Back in the previous one, it used to give you like a big flash on the screen to tell you what it was doing. Now it's like, I feel like I'm always too late. But I think there's a lot of latency in the game that I feel like I'm experiencing. But
this one does have some flashes.
Yeah,
when they want you to parry.
Yo, Carlos, you playing?
Yeah, I played it. I played it for like an hour.
Really? Oh, see, so
That's
Carlos
good.
has been playing the game. Interesting.
I mean, the other thing about this one, I feel like in general, like I feel like a lot of the criticism seems to come from people having like bird memory and not remembering exactly what the first game was. But my biggest criticism of the game is the fact that it didn't, from the control side of things, it didn't really improve. Like, they from the beginning of the game, they do the thing where they start you from square one, and then you got to learn your new ability, learn the same old abilities that you had before. You don't have any of the things that you had from before, and I feel like that's sort of like brings down the experience. Like, it's like, why couldn't she keep her abilities from the previous game, and then she learned something new to sort of overcome whatever this new thing is, that's this new threat or whatever she needs to get over in this game, get into this game. So I just feel like that's my biggest criticism. And I think for definitely in a lot of I would say the reviewers have been saying, people who reviewed the game, that first chapter, like that one is a slog. Like it is slow. She can barely walk, obviously, because of what the events that have happened inside of the game, and she's just limping along, and you're just holding up, and you're just like, it just feels like forever that you're going through this section of the game. I feel like it really doesn't start to really sort of pick up, I feel like, until maybe later in chapter 1, and then most definitely chapter 2 is like, okay, now, we got something new now, right? So, but yeah, again, this game doesn't, I think I said this before our show, this game doesn't really fold around on itself like the previous one. It seems like definitely the previous one was just you're on this one island, and then you can pretty much go back or do different things, and get the lore stones and do kinds of stuff. You can kind of keep going back until that point of no return when you finally walk through that door and you go over the bridge, and then you do that like final part of the game. But yeah, there's definitely there's only one direction to go, and it's forward.
Yeah, go ahead, Rich.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Carlos. Go ahead.
Yeah, this game, I will say it's probably one of the best looking games I've ever played. The presentation is crazy. I mean, you could tell that they put a lot of effort in the visuals, the set pieces, the audio. Go ahead, Rich.
Definitely it's like literally every single bit of Unreal Engine 5 just all there on display for you. Like all the detailed rocks, like Senua has she has peach fuzz on her face, which is nuts.
Oh, that was controversial with Aloy.
In other words, when you do in other words, you can see it better when somebody's in profile and the light is on the other side of their head, and you literally see that when you get really close to their faces. I'm like, that's pretty nuts. There's just all kinds of really good stuff at play. Definitely, the characters. I would say some characters that you do eventually run into. Some of them I feel like don't hold up as nearly as good as she does. Especially like some of the like a character late in the game. But they gave you a lot of stuff. Like there's at one point there's a whirlpool with dynamic water that goes swirling down into something. Like there's some pretty impressive stuff. Like they're just definitely using every single bit of trickery that thing has.
Yeah, so. Rich, what were you going to say before?
Oh yeah, no, I was going to say it's without a doubt a showcase title for Unreal Engine 5. I think obviously one thing I do want to mention about that, because that's possibly the only thing I've seen in every review that I've seen so far. Nobody criticizes the graphics.
Yeah.
And they're all praising how great it is. So that is something that absolutely does stand out. I am very curious to see what developers get out of that particular engine, because obviously, this is just one game, but obviously as people learn more things they can do with the software, I'm very curious to see what they do with that. So I can't wait to see what Gear 6 looks like with this engine.
The game. This is it.
There's all kinds of interesting, just lots of really good details. Digital Foundry actually does a really good breakdown of a lot of the tech that's behind it. There's just definitely additionally a visual showcase, but again, obviously there's a lot of the, this is like the Order 1886. I'll tell you this.
Oh yeah.
You kind of do more in the Order 1886 than you do in this game. Just saying.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I will say this, and I'm only an hour into the game, but I do agree. Manny mentioned a lot of things in the beginning of the game where it does feel like a slog. You're just walking around. I will say this: it took me like 10 to 15 minutes to figure out that there's a running button. So the left bumper button.
That happened to me too. That happened to me too, because I was expecting the button click on the front of it. I totally forgot about that. And then I was walking that whole route in the beginning. So for those of you playing, press R1. There we go. That's your running.
Yep, you can run, and I'm like, oh, there we go. That helps a lot. But I will say this. Everything about the presentation in terms of graphics, in terms of sort of the visual narrative, the audio narrative of the story is great. and it's top notch. I feel like that's some of the best, that gaming can do. But my biggest issue so far is the combat. I find a fair share of villains, and I don't, when I say combat, I don't mean to say, oh, this should be like Dark Souls or anything as sophisticated as that. But there is no, there's not that many, there hasn't been that many fights. There's been one big fight that I fought, and there's nothing that adds character to them. They're just the same thing. Like, you do the same exact thing, and it's not really, there's no, I just wish there was more dynamic into the fights. I don't know. The combat system is just is a slog, sort of similar to the pacing of some parts of the game.
Yeah. I didn't really find. I feel like in the previous one, there was definitely characters, like especially like some of the monsters that you fight in there that are definitely a lot. They have different patterns. I mean, there's definitely different patterns, but obviously those things had like powers, and you had to parry at a certain point, and then you would do a thing on there, like do like a move on them or something like that. This one's even more stripped down than the previous one. Like, in other words, you definitely have these monsters, these monsters or enemies that have patterns to them, but they're a lot more grounded than the previous one. And obviously, you could say, maybe because there's some sort of psychosis stuff going on with the that maybe some of the things that she's seeing is not there, stuff like that. So, but I would say I would say the combat in the previous one is actually a lot more enjoyable than this one. Like, it just feels like you get into a fight, and then they always do that same thing. Like, you beat one up like a couple of shots, right? And then sometimes your little mirror charges up, and then you can do like a Rage of the Gods. Then this one, it's like they're way more dependent on that thing activating more now. Whereas in previously, the mirror used to flash, and then again you would give it like you could do a dodge or do something else, and it seemed like it was a lot more like you were in a lot more control. This one, it just feels like you're just wailing until you knock the thing down, or the monster down, and then they'll always do this really like they'll do like a transition animation of like somebody falls over, and then the monster comes over and you start fighting them, and like they always do this weird thing where it's like you always fight every single creature thing one at a time, and then they'll it'll always come over to you, and they'll do the cinematic, and then you fight them, beat that one, do this little cinematic, and then you're fighting the new one. Or you'll see like if there's other people around, they'll like fall over, like, oh no, and they'll get killed, and then you fight the monster,
Yeah. So I'm curious to see, why the combat is, how it progresses throughout the game. Man, this
I'll be honest, it doesn't get any better.
Yeah.
It doesn't. Like, there isn't really, like, again, like there's legitimate boss battles in the previous one. There's nothing like that in this, at least as far as I've played, and I'm like right at the cusp of the end of the game, of chapter 5. So, it just seems like you fight the same, like they always obviously add more enemies, like there's, there'll be like hey, look, the guy's there's one with an axe, one with a spear, one with a shield. Like, again, more new things there, but again, I feel like the previous one had a lot more of a pleasurable fighting, fighting in it than this current one. It's almost like a somewhat of a step back from the previous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it just sort of compounds with a lot of the things that I've seen talked about online, where a lot of people have criticized the combat and saying this is more of an experience than it is a video game in a way.
The previous one I feel like there was, I mean, Brett, you've been playing it, right? It's like there's at least some like something there. Like you could, you had multiple enemies you could fight. It seemed like you had a little more you could do with it. But now it just seems like they just boiled it down to its simplest form.
Yeah,
I'd
including the
almost-
combat.
Yeah,
I feel
I'd almost say just throw the damn thing on easy, just so you can just be done with them. To be honest,
wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
because it really like, and then the game also gives you like if they have you could have the different difficulties. They have this one called dynamic. So my guess is that when you're getting your ass whipped, the little mirror, like it just seems like the mirror just charges up instantly, and then you can just like wail on whatever the monster is. I died rarely in the game, but usually it's because every single time I kept pressing the counter, like if you hit the block button at the right time, she does like an instant kill or does something like that. But really, I would always miss the timing.
Barry, by the way, real quick, Barry Burns says, I'm tired of quote unquote experiences. Can we have video games back?
I don't know.
And to make it agrees with that.
I feel like that is it is an experience, but I don't think that's any excuse for having essentially pretty much pulling back a lot of what the original game did. You know what I mean?
Not only that, not even building upon that. I feel like it didn't do that.
It feels like the same thing, and then just like a little worse as far as that side of it. So that's the big thing. Like it, in a lot of ways, it almost feels like like if you know how like if you had to press let's say you press the play button and you just press play, and then that's what keeps the movie rolling. Like you're just holding your hand on the button, you're holding your stick straight, and then you're every so often you're allowed to do something. But for the most part, go ahead.
It's just, I mean, so far it's only been like a corridor. It's like you're just going at, like you mentioned, in a straight line.
Yeah, there's usually a straight path that you sort of go, but there's a lot of greeblies and all kinds of other things that in the environment that sort of makes it look like the path isn't thing.
Yeah.
You know what it sounds like you guys are describing?
What?
Final Fantasy?
A walking simulator.
Walking simulator, you don't do nearly as much as this game does.
Yeah,
walking simulator is specifically walking.
Yeah, because people said like for the first 45 minutes that like you're literally just holding up.
Yeah, you're just again like that's
sounds like a walking sim. Yeah, for the first 45 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the first chapter of the game. Like you're literally there, and you're like, and it's worse because she doesn't move fast because she's all beat up, because of what happened earlier in the game, previous. So she's all messed up, and then it's almost like if you took the Revenant and gave the Revenant controls, where like DiCaprio's rolling on the floor, like, the thing comes in, like you can. It almost feels like that in a lot of cases. But then again, like once you get past that portion of the game, which is unfortunate to say, it gets a lot better. Just because like, oh, hey, now, you get to see some nice environments. The game stops being gray because the whole like beginning of the game is literally like it's all gray and horrible. It's raining. Again, all beautiful stuff. It's just that one's a hard one. That's a hard way to open up your game, man.
Yeah, but no, people were complaining about that, and then the length is another thing people complain about, which brings up the old, conversation of value versus price. And I actually retweeted this because I think it's kind of pertinent. Somebody goes 5 hours of gameplay. 5 hours of gameplay for a quote unquote AAA game is insane. And then there's the quote tweet. The longer game equals better mindset is a big reason why the AAA industry is an expensive, bloated, and unsustainable mess of microtransactions and being rushed out before ready.
Yeah, and
it's a $50 game.
Again, we're talking about a $50 game. Like Hi-Fi Rush was also a $50 game. If you guys, if y'all don't remember, but obviously, if you're on Game Pass, you don't know what things cost.
Well, with this one too, right?
Yeah, $50 game. So, like, what is there? Like, I could see the value, but it's like even the Order 1886 was a $60 game back in the day.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
People complain about that too.
I complain about that too. But I feel like when you say if you mean big studio AAA game, but the thing about it, officially, this was supposed to be, and was always a middle A title that had triple A visuals.
Yeah, that's exactly it. This is a double A game with a triple A coat of paint.
and that is what Ninja Theory initially went out to prove previously. They were like, we can have a small team and we can make these, really good looking titles, and not break your wallet, and and that's kind of what they did. So like, it still sort of fits under the same umbrella of it, but now I guess now all of a sudden, since they're owned by Microsoft, all of a sudden it means like, okay, so now they gotta,
Yes.
Yeah.
That is exactly the issue that I have with how this game has been received by a lot of people.
Yeah.
They knew ahead of time what the first game was, so you may be expecting it's going to be more of the first game. But then, because of this acquisition by Microsoft, they're like, oh well, Microsoft. Now Ninja Theory has an unlimited budget. They can do a whole bunch of things. But why would they do that if the first one was a success? They could just try to improve upon the second one.
Okay, here's another one. There was if you looked at the shot of Ninja Theory, right? They posted a picture of the team who made Hellblade.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. There at least was 50 people standing there.
Yeah.
So you're telling me like a 50 person team made this title, and it looks as good as it does, and obviously it is more similar to the previous one. I don't know. I feel like it's an expectation that people sort of thrusted on this thing because it was connected to Microsoft. I feel like in general, like Ninja Theory's like what they wanted, like their aim was to always sort of make smaller budgeted titles that looked really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, real quick, Blitz says, all this does is make the closure of Tango seem worse. Hi-Fi Rush was a so much better game and probably cost a lot less to make.
I don't know. I mean, it depends on what we don't know the budgets of either one of these games. They could be almost exactly the same.
Yeah, but he does think Hi-Fi Rush was a better game.
I mean, Hi-Fi Rush is a funner game.
Yeah,
like most definitely say that. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't mind that. The length of the game doesn't really bug me, and there also is a new game plus if you want to go through that again. And then there's also if you complete the game, they have there's a thing where you can have alternate narrators narrate the game to give new insight into what things have been seen.
Hi-Fi Rush is an actual game. That's funny.
I mean, they're both games. It's just it's just this one is the looks and the story that's supposed to be the upfront part of it. But again, I feel like nobody was saying this on the previous one, right? All of a sudden now it's a problem.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because
go ahead, Rich.
Because Xbox, that's why it's a problem.
Xbox X.
At no point did we ever say that this game was going to save fucking Game Pass.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Again,
I agree.
This is the same situation. This is Ninja Theory is also in the same position as Hi-Fi Rush in more ways than one. This is a title that should be released with another big title or another string of titles. By the way, side note, Microsoft has closed off more studios than they've have made exclusive games, by the way.
They've also made more controllers and exclusives, but
they've made
that's
more
a whole other
controllers
conversation.
But,
by the way,
like
Manny,
this,
real quick to your what you said to make it says the previous game didn't have Microsoft's budget behind it, so that's where the criticism is coming from.
Here's the thing: it doesn't matter if it had Microsoft's budget. Ninja Theory in general still had the same aim.
Yeah, but he's saying that's why people had higher expectations.
They have higher expectations. Yeah, the money was coming from Microsoft, but at no point did they say, "Okay, we're going to spend more money because Microsoft is flipping the bill." That's why they were able to make two games, back to back, because they're not spending a lot of resources on these things. They're doing, clean. Obviously the last game didn't do very well, but I'm sure that game didn't cost Microsoft a whole lot of money to do.
Mm-hmm.
And as I'm sure Hellblade didn't probably either.
Yeah, Ninja Theory served their purpose, and the issue is people skew that purpose with thinking that this is, like Manny mentioned, not a AAA studio. This isn't a Coalition. This isn't CD Projekt Red. They make AA games for the most part, and I feel like the game was always going to be this even before Microsoft even decided to buy Ninja Theory. They just got purchased, and maybe they had more time to polish out and use a new engine in Unreal 5 and make it look prettier.
Yeah, I think that's it. Like, I think it's just that situation. Like, I feel like there's a lot more being put on them just because of the fact that they're part of Microsoft. That's like expecting Tim Schafer's company to make this $1 billion game. They're not going to do that. The reason why Microsoft got those studios, right? Those little smaller studios, is because they wanted to fill up Game Pass with more budgeted titles, instead of everything filling up with all these giant games. But the problem is that their giant games are not filling any sort of space. They're delayed. They're taking too long. So then what do you have? You have a every so often release of a game that shouldn't really be sitting. It should be when you're shooting a gun, there's multiple guns in the chain, multiple bullets in a chain inside of your gun. You don't just keep shooting one bullet and expect it to make a hit.
Yeah.
Same thing here. Like, you gotta at least have 6 ones in the chamber to be able to boom, 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 shoot some stuff out. They don't got it. Like, what? It's like every so often, like, okay, now we can fill all right, we're gonna shoot it out. Boom.
Yeah, and that's something we've discussed multiple times here. Every time there is a new Xbox exclusive, since we get so few of them, every single one is made to be the game that's going to save the platform. Or most of the time, it is unfair to put that expectation on these games. Redfall sat on its own. What was it? Hi-Fi Rush sat on its own. Hellblade sat on its own. I feel like. And then there was just nothing in there in between. Like, are you telling me these games we're going to change people's minds and make them subscribe to Game Pass? I don't know. No, they weren't.
They weren't, especially with how Redfall just literally shit the bed. But again, like, they were put into a position that a not so ideal situation. They're literally a single player company told to make a multiplayer title. So I don't know. It's unfortunate because you think because of all the studios these guys have under their belt, right? You think that they would have, and I'm sure they probably thought of it too. Oh yeah, we got all this, we got all this stuff under our belt. Something's bound to come out and do something. But I don't know. Yeah, it is what it is. I guess we're gonna have to wait until next week to see what's it on the 5th of June, right?
Well, what's happening? Oh yeah, the Xbox showcase. I mean, there's some other stuff going on. We're gonna get to that. And then I wanted to get you guys' take on what do you think about the criticism that this game is more of the same.
I would say that's the truth. I would say definitely is the truth. I would say that's the biggest downfall of this title, is that it's more of the same. It's not. Again, the biggest leap in this title is all of the technical side. It's probably the most beautiful game that you'll ever play on anything, right? At this point in time, right? Like, so yeah, and that's the biggest part of this game. All the tech that went into making this game look as good as it did, but just the gameplay side, it just feels like I say more of the same and maybe a bit of a step back.
Interesting.
The previous game came out with zero expectations, and it came out on PlayStation, so there wasn't that much of a fanboy sort of perspective on it, and people enjoyed it for what it was because it's a AA game that's really narrative driven, not much combat driven, and this sort of doubled down on the narrative part. It didn't really double down on the combat part, and I feel like that's now everyone's looking into this game as being something, you know, that's going to push the Xbox platform forward, and it's something that people from the Sony side have binoculars on, looking at it and criticizing it, and then you have people on the Xbox side sort of trying to defend it. And you know, when at the end of the day, it is what it is. It's not something, you know, it's not something more than what the previous game was. And like Tony and like Manny mentioned, it didn't really build upon what the combat was, which is the game aspect of what makes this game a game. They more double down on sort of the story, narrative, aspects of the game.
Like there's like climbing sequences in the game. There really isn't like there isn't really any sort of climbing. It's literally just holding the direction of just keep holding a direction, and she'll just eventually climb over from, you know, it really doesn't, there's nothing on that. There's no danger as to like falling off of ledges, even though they do those like nice little shimmy parts where you look down and there's a whole bunch of things going on below you, and there's no danger there, you know?
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of a problem I have with a lot of platforming sections in games now. You can't fail them. You know, that's why I was surprised that you can fail some of them and celebrate. I'm like, oh, I remember when games used to do this. We talked about this when we were discussing Assassin's Creed the other week. I was like, remember in the original Assassin's Creed games, you could fuck up. You could fuck up. You can't do that anymore.
You like the most you'll die is maybe from the sluggish combat in general.
Yeah.
And then there's a big giant quote boss battle that you can fail multiple times and not see anything. It just flips you right back.
Yeah.
So you really
go ahead.
So you can fail it as many times as you want if you're not getting certain things right. But yeah.
Blitz says it sounds like it was made for Game Pass.
I mean, you could play for you. I mean, if you have Game Pass,
man, you know that saying, good enough for Game Pass.
I know. I mean, but I would say, like, if you have Game Pass, then why the hell not play it? I mean, shit.
And I'm about 100% certain this will also be coming to PlayStation.
Oh yeah.
I can see this one being a PlayStation title, and then you'll find all the PlayStation guys all of a sudden flipping around and be like, "Oh, this is so great! I love the original Hellblade game."
Yeah. Man, no wonder they did it in the physical version. I do want to ask you guys, because again, the other thing that was going on. It's like, you know, the other conversation I've seen pop up because of this is the whole gameplay versus graphics, you know, and a lot of people, you know, obviously like gameplay is king. A pretty game doesn't make for good game. You know what I'm saying? That's been, and we're gonna get a little bit more into that later because a Sony executive said something very interesting that's related. But I wanted to get you guys' take on it. I have my own take on that, obviously, but I want to hear from you guys first. Like, do you think this game's graphics are a selling point?
Are they a selling point? I mean, that would be like asking if the previous one's graphics were a selling point.
Yeah.
Well,
go ahead, Rich.
I would say yes, because the big thing that they talked about with this game, Unreal Engine 5, from the very beginning, everybody was curious to see how the game would look. So I kind of feel like, as I mentioned earlier, this is a showcase title for that engine. I personally don't think that they've gotten everything out of the engine that they could get out of it, because this is like one of the earlier games. I would consider this as being one of the early games in Unreal Engine 5. In the next couple of years, some developer, I don't know which studio it's going to be, some developers are going to really push that engine to the limit. And then I'll be very curious to see what they create. Mm-hmm. But in terms of the visual presentation, yeah, I think that is the main thing that I think is a selling point of this game. I know Carlos mentioned earlier, the sound is very important to the game. And you know, when I was playing the game, I had on headphones so I can, because they encourage you to play it with headphones on.
Yeah.
it really pulls you deeper into the experience. So the sound, the visuals, but yes, I agree with a lot of stuff that has been said. The gameplay, there's a lot that could have been done with gameplay. And obviously, I personally always love gameplay. Any game that I play, I think gameplay is highly important. Sometimes even more important than the graphics, but it just depends on what the game is.
Yeah, is it a selling point? That's a hard one. I mean, again, if you have Game Pass, I would say why not play it? It's it's like it's a pretty easy 1,000 points of Game Pass. The Xbox version of Platinum. And it's a fine game. You can literally complete it in a week or less. So, I mean, I would say definitely a selling point as far as the.
You mean a weekend?
Yeah, you can finish it. You can finish it in a weekend. Like if you start on Friday, by Saturday evening, you probably finish it off if you're playing like crazy.
Yeah,
even then you can play pretty casually. I've been playing casual pretty lightly since Tuesday.
Yeah. Real quick, I want to give a shout out over on YouTube to Section 8 Samurai for the $1. Appreciate that.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. Blitz asked me, "Am I still going to buy it?" Of course, Ninja Theory is a studio I've been supporting for many, many, many years. And me. And to answer my own question, is graphics a selling point, or are graphics a selling point for this game? Abso-fucking-lutely. Because I don't like the whole narrative that people are like, oh, gameplay is king. No, it isn't. Not for me, at least. Gameplay is a part of it, But if a game you could have the most amazing gameplay ever, but if the game doesn't look good, that's a turnoff, man.
What about Callisto Protocol?
Huh?
What about Callisto Protocol? That's a very nice.
Yeah. Well, the problem with that is it's just the narrative was really bad.
Yeah. The narrative.
Yeah, because the gameplay in that was good, and the graphics were stunning. But the narrative was fucking boring, So and narrative, to me, I view narrative, graphics, and gameplay all on kind of equal footing in a way. Maybe, although I will be honest, just being honest with myself, gameplay may be a little lesser in those, because if you give me a good presentation and a gripping story, I'm there. Think about this: the first Mass Effect. The first Mass Effect, before it got patched, the gameplay was fucking atrocious. I was hooked.
It was really bad.
Yeah, I was hooked. That story, especially the story, and then the graphics. I'm like, this is the shit. I remember playing Blood Omen 2. I thought the gameplay was atrocious in that game, and the graphics were bad. But that narrative, man, it was so good. I kept going. To answer my own question. Yeah, you already know. I'm buying this game. The graphics are a huge selling point. Not only do I want to see what this shit looks like on my PC, I got a 4090 fucking PC in the office. I'm running that fucking game through that. I want to see what it's gonna do. Because I've seen some of these clips. Hold on, let me finish. I'm on a roll here, man. Because I've seen the clips. I've seen the screenshots. Fuck. Here's the thing, man. Because back in the day, and I'm not saying I disagree with my older self, because I used to be very vehement about a stylized game is better than a realistic game. But the older I get, I want those fucking graphics, man. I want detailed shit. It doesn't have to be 100% realistic. Cyberpunk is not realistic, but the detail is crazy. So like the older I get and the more I see how capable technology is, I want developers to keep pushing the fucking envelope. Remember, when this generation started, what was the thing that excited me the most out of anything? That fucking Unreal 5 demo. I talked about that shit for months. So I'm like, oh, now we finally have a game that's really making use of that shit. Yes, I know Fortnite is on Unreal 5, but come on now. Like, this shit right here, this is what I want to see in gaming, man. Like, graphics-wise. Like, just talking about it is getting me fucking hyped. I understand, maybe the gameplay is not all that, and you got to slog through all this shit, but it's going to be a pretty fucking slog. I'll tell you that, man. I could just taste the shit thinking about it, So, yeah, I'm definitely going to buy it, and, that's the plan. This Sunday, because I got plans on Saturday and shit. Sunday, getting this game, that my whole day, I'm playing that shit right there in one sitting. I can't wait, Go ahead, Manny.
So,
What were you trying? We're trying to interrupt me this whole time. What you trying to say, man?
Well, I was going to say there are some caveats with your with the way you play it. So this game, it's officially locked at 30 frames per second.
Yeah. Oh, we're gonna get to that. By the way, real quick, note to self: Forspoken 2 needs better graphics. Forspoken 2 ain't coming because the studio got shut down. You know. And remember, what hurt that game was the fucking shitty story and the character. Gameplay was tight, and the fucking graphics were the shit, but the story sucked. And you know what I'm thinking about? I think story may actually trump most things, man. Because think about it, that game's perfect. Great graphics, great gameplay. The story sucks, so I don't care. You know, that story is key because, again, I said I played Blood Omen 2. Shitty gameplay, shitty graphics, loved it. Great story, you know, but I'm more of a narrative guy, you know. But at the same time, I will be there, but like, you can't also have me just holding up for an hour. Mm-hmm. I would rather you just show me a straight up cinema than that shit. Like a Metal Gear Solid game. You know, like when you're not doing shit for like 2 hours, you know, I'd rather have that, you know? Anyway, 30 frames per second. I heard about that.
It has very 30 frames per second, but there's a slight caveat to it. So depending on the way you sort of render the game, like they give you multiple ways to sort of render it, where like you could have it like, I can't remember, a something, right? That's the one that it's set to. If you set it's that, there's like certain ways you can adjust the frame rate. When you have DLSS and a bunch of the other ones that are like the upscaling tech, that actually gives you a more of a solid, it's a more a very close to 60 sort of feel on those. The other thing is it has the menus.
Wait, real quick. You're talking about PC, right?
Yes, this is a PC.
Okay,
I don't have an Xbox.
Yeah.
The Xbox version, that runs really well.
Well, apparently, the reason I bring it up is because apparently the game's struggling to hit even 30 frames a second on Xbox. It's very interesting.
It's probably because of some of the things. Like I managed to keep mine. Like when my PC that I have that can run it, it runs it pretty good. I could put it all on high, and it actually tells you how much your how many frames how much your frame rate's dipping by putting on all the different post-processing effects and all the different shadow quality and all that other stuff. But some of them don't affect it at all. And then it also tells you how much your CPU and your GPU are doing. So I managed to keep mine at the center, which gave me a nice solid 30 FPS. It actually gave me more. It was like in the 50 range, but I adjusted some of the other things to sort of give me that, so I can pretty much run it pretty damn smooth. And also running it in DLSS mode, like literally bumps your frame rate.
Oh yeah.
So like if I was running it at like close to like a little bit above like in the 40 range, it jumped to like 70.
Nice.
But that my laptop is not like super strong, but it can do ray tracing and all that other
ray tracing. So I'll definitely be playing. I already had that set. This Sunday I'm going in and I'm buying it too. I'm not playing that shit on Game Pass. Buying it, supporting the developer. Yeah.
So good $50.
Yeah.
Question, Tony.
What's up?
Are you buying it on Steam or buying it on Xbox or the Windows Store? Okay.
Windows Store. I think you know my answer to that, Brian.
No, I had asked. I was wondering because I think Manny, you bought it on the Xbox, right?
I bought it I bought it through the Xbox store.
Yeah. Brian, I got my Steam collection, man. I will always. I don't think I've ever bought a single game off the Microsoft store. Maybe Gears or something. But no, man, if it's on Steam, I'm getting it on Steam because I want to.
It's weird.
I want to keep all my games there.
It's weird because I bought it through. I definitely bought it through the Xbox app, but I didn't go through the Microsoft store. It just like
the Xbox app. You could do that,
yeah. Every PC has an Xbox in it, right? You just press what is it? You just start up the app, the Xbox application, and you just buy it in there.
Yeah, Jay Shep. But Microsoft is buying Bethesda. Microsoft is buying Steam. I heard that fucking rumor. People are dumb, bro. You know.
Gavin would not let that happen.
That ain't happening.
With his legitimate hate for Microsoft, why do you think that they haven't run the Steam decks through? They're running the Steam decks through Windows.
Yeah, it ain't happening. And then apparently, again, it's just a rumor. So obviously, don't take it seriously that they're offering $16 billion. I think that's a little low for fucking Valve.
They could way more money.
Way more. I think they're more valuable. In my opinion, they're more valuable than fucking Activision. Like Steam is Steam. But anyway, let's not talk about that dumb shit. But I've been seeing the conversations. I gotta check out that Digital Foundry video. Very interesting stuff. But at the same time, again, like you guys said, this was not a game meant to be the savior of Xbox, and it was never positioned to be that way. But like I said, since Xbox has so few games, every game is propped up. Yeah,
everything's on a pedestal. It's like,
it's propped up not by Microsoft because of that budgeting, that marketing budget was pretty lackluster, if you ask me.
I almost it's a weird one because
it's more the media and the fanboys. You're right, Carlos.
It makes me wonder. Was that right to do? Because would it have moved the needle at all if they did put a big marketing campaign like?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so. In a weird, funky sort of way, it has about the same amount of promotion as the previous one did.
You're right about that because this is not a crowd pleasing game. You know what I mean? It's not an Applebee's type of game. This is not the kind of game that you could throw as much marketing at it as you want. It was not going to be a crowd pleaser. People are going to be like, what the fuck is this shit?
And the same thing like the previous one. The original Hellblade didn't get a physical release.
Yeah, that's true.
Originally, it was just a digital title, and then eventually it got they released a disc version. But no, it's a totally digital game. So it seems like they're redoing a lot of the same stuff they did last time. They didn't have they didn't have like a big promotional campaign like in the previous one. The most they did was they had their YouTube channel where they essentially talk about all the different aspects of creating the game. So you get you always got a consistent behind the scenes thing that hasn't changed. They still have all of that stuff running. So it's almost the same exact thing as the previous one, except the only difference now is that they're owned by Microsoft.
Yeah. Blitz says Greenberg slept through the launch window. I just got a picture of Tim Dog sleeping through a Microsoft conference. If you guys remember that shit, this Xbox fanboy bathed in green, just sleeping. Oh my God. All right, man.
He was jet lagged.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, because flying from New York to LA, come on, man, fuck out of here. Me and May did that shit all the time. We weren't jet lagged, there and back, no.
But it was also we were still in those crazy hours, so we were staying up till 2 a.m.
Yeah,
normally over here on the East Coast. So that's 10 over there.
Yeah, you're right about that. It's like when we woke up at 8, it was 11 for us. This is normal,
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, do we have any last thoughts? Oh, hold on, real quick. Throwdown Show. Did any of you guys get invites to the Xbox showcase? Nope.
No.
Maybe Rich, but
I don't know.
I certainly didn't.
I heard somebody who has similar initials as mine's, RBJR. He did get invited, so maybe he'll talk about that in the future.
There you go, man.
Oh.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. By the way, J Shep, just for the record, I was invited to Summer Game Fest, but since video games are not my primary beat, I chose not to go to LA. I only go to that hellhole if I have to. Fuck Los Angeles.
Yes.
Man. Yeah, but not my primary beat, so I declined.
It's interesting. Ever since you've taken this job, you have not gone to any. The E3 died when you got this job. Yep. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, I've been to a shit ton of tech events. Even went to Hawaii, but nope, no gaming. I've gone to a couple of smaller gaming events. The biggest one was like a Sega event that they had last year, but mostly it's just been a couple little things. It's not like the old days. Again, gaming is not my primary beat. It's more about gaming hardware if it is gaming related, like checking out the ROG Ally and such, and MSI Claw and things of that nature. The hell was I talking about? Oh yeah, last thoughts on Hellblade if we got him.
Last thoughts. It's not a game I would suggest to everyone.
Oh.
If you're into narrative driven games, you want a small experience, I would say go for it. But if you're looking for like a gameplay tour de force, it's not the game for you. So that's all.
Yeah. I agree with Manny. I mean, if you're going into this game expecting any semblance of good combat, then be prepared to be disappointed.
It's not going to change your mind on anything, by the way. If you're not already down with that, then don't even put yourself through the thing. You're just going to hate. You're just going to totally hate it. So just leave it alone.
And if you're gonna pay $50 and have issues with 6-hour games, then I guess don't buy this game.
Yeah. If you want to try something, I wouldn't suggest it if you're not inside the game. But it's kind of, if you have Game Pass, it's there waiting for you. If you wanted to try out 2 seconds of it and just not for me. Put it there. Get off the boat achievement and then call it a day.
And I've heard rumors that this game is in the short list of Richard Bailey Jr.'s Game of the Year contenders. So
now, Carlos, April Fool's is long gone, so I have no idea what you're talking about.
I thought that was today.
No. There is. I will say this though. There is one game that is in that list right now for me. That's in the list.
Hades,
and it is a game that also has Blade in the title. So I'll let y'all figure out what that is.
Oh
yeah.
Shit.
Yo, man, you put two blades versus each other. Which one wins?
Yeah.
But Rich, the all important question.
What's that?
Should you buy this game?
Oh, well, that is an outstanding question, Tony. My answer right now is, well, I'm enjoying the game, so I'm obviously going to say, yeah, you should pick it up. If you played the original Hellblade, you want to see more of what they're doing with the characters. If you want to see the Unreal Engine 5 in action, then yeah, you probably should check it out. But obviously, to go to what Carlos's point said, if you're worried about the length of the game, if you did not like Hellblade 1, why the hell would you pay? Why the hell would you buy Hellblade 2? And if you have Game Pass, if you have Xbox, because I heard some people have been selling their consoles, if you have an Xbox and you have Game Pass, well, you absolutely should check it out, because why else do you have the Xbox? You have Game Pass, you have to use it, right? So
try it out. Yeah, treat it like a demo.
But Rich, you're not answering my question. Should I buy it?
Yes. Hellblade fans.
Yes, Tony, you should buy it.
Yeah.
Yes. Hellblade fans should pick it up so they can decide whether or not they like it. I've seen a lot of people who reviewed this game. They were huge fans of the first game, and they've all said the first game is better than the second game. So far, I would say yeah, because the first game, Senua has a love interest. It's a much more personal story when you bring that into this. This one is not really. It doesn't come from that same angle. So I understand the criticism 100%.
Yeah, it definitely is a much more of a personal story in the first one, and I feel like there's a lot more personal stakes when it comes to that. This one is not so much. It's sort of her relating to others and stuff like that. But I one thing I did sort of appreciate that there was actual other characters instead of just like a ghost videotape guy. You know, like,
Mhm.
you know, the Northmen say that guy, or the stuff, you know, with like, you know, she just like, you know, talking rocks and things like that. So it's actually nice to have like some people.
Yeah.
Here's a question. Since we talk about the narrative, does the narrative of the second game make sense in the sense of did they invent a BS reason why this game exists in terms of the narrative, or is it like okay, they actually have a story to actually tell?
A BS reason for this one to exist.
You know, sometimes sequels they just make up some nonsense just for it to exist. Like, does this game's narrative justify its existence? Like, you know, yeah. Go ahead.
She has some unfinished business when it comes to the not getting over. You know, obviously she she comes to terms with the death of her lover in the previous game, but there is definitely some leftover things that why certain things happened the way they did, which are sort of connected in this game. So I feel like that does, but it's a little bit of a looser reason than the previous one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like she was specifically out to do this journey. This one, it's like I have this other unfinished business with this thing. You know, I would say if you saw the Northman, fairly similar story with them.
This is like a Senua's John Wick moment.
So the
There's actually
story
quite a
doesn't
bit.
feel like, hey, we need a sequel. Make up some shit. It doesn't feel like that.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't feel like we need a. It doesn't feel like we need a sequel. Make up some shit. It's more like, okay, there's some leftover threads from the previous one that sort of come into it, but at the same time, it also feels like I wish I would have been a part of the portion of that got her into that situation that she's in. You know,
Yeah.
part of the decision process or part of that process of getting her there, because I feel like there could have been something in the beginning of that game.
It's not as organic as you know,
Yeah,
the best sequels out there. It's more like, oh, it makes sense. It takes a small leap of faith to believe why she's doing what she's doing. But you know, narratively, it doesn't really break anything.
yeah. And I mean, there's some things in this that they sort of, you know, again, like she is sort of coming to terms with certain things in her life, you know, within this within this title, but not so much, not with, to be honest, with the same weight as what I felt the first one felt.
Yeah. All right. Any other thoughts before we move on?
It's a pretty looking game.
Yeah,
And I'll say this as a, like, being I'm so far in the end of the game, you know, and I know about the new, not the new game plus, but the change of the narrator. So in other words, it changes all the voices that you hear in your headphones. That'd be interesting because there are definitely some things that involve other characters that makes you question what's going on. It's like, did these guys see the same things that she did? Is all of this stuff in her head? I don't know. So definitely would like to see a little bit of that.
Cool. All right. And shout out to us, man. We actually talked about this game for an hour. It's crazy. We talked about it for longer than the game actually lasts. So crazy stuff.
Whoa.
You mean we talked for 7 hours somehow? What?
All right, man. Let's move on. Other things did happen in gaming this week. I wish Adam was here for this one because he's actually passionate about this. Remember back in the day before we had Adam on the show, like we just begrudgingly had to talk about Call of Duty just because it's Call of Duty. We're back at it again. You know?
Oh, okay. I mean, Rich, you did Call of Duty, right? No, not into that.
Oh yeah, I am a Call of Duty fan only because of Adam.
Only because of Adam.
Adam has a way of talking up things. Like he's a good It must
This
run
is
in
the
his
one.
blood.
This the one.
It
Every
must
year,
run-
every
it
year,
definitely-
this the one. This is it. It
It
changes.
definitely runs in his blood because his dad used to be a salesman, so he kind of got a little bit in his DNA.
Yeah. But yeah, real quick before we get into it, yeah. Call of Duty Black Ops 6 has been announced. Remember when they announced what Microsoft was going to be showing, it had redacted. Everybody's like, come on, bro. You know that's a motherfucking Call of Duty. And it was. Although I had to ask around, I'm like, there's been 6 Black Opses? Because the last numbered one was 3, but there was like some other ones that had like other names. So yeah, total there are 6.
Okay.
So yeah, that's going to be after the main Microsoft presentation is going to lead right into this one, and we're going to learn about it. When is that happening? June 5th, right? Whatever. Oh yeah, okay. Here it is.
No, it's June 9th.
June 9th. Okay. Black Ops 6 is set during the Gulf War. Which one?
Oh no.
Which one? But again, I don't know shit about Call of Duty, obviously, but I know the Black Ops games took place in the past, so maybe the first one. I don't know. I could be dead wrong.
I think this is a new story. Yeah. They had leaked information about this before, but I don't know if any of that was true because a while ago it leaked that it was going to be in the Gulf War. It features a different type of protagonist, but I think we need to wait for the actual official news to see what this actually is.
Yeah.
Did you? I don't know if you. I stepped away for a little bit, but I don't know if you talked about it. But apparently, and this is just from my peripheral. I didn't pay attention, but apparently 9/11 is involved in this game or something like that, or is that just a whack ass rumor?
Well, okay. Here's the thing. I was just asking because it says that this game takes place during the quote unquote Gulf War. I'm like, which one?
Yeah.
I'm like, which one? There was 2 of them. Again, this is just Tony speculation. I could be fucking absolutely wrong because I don't know Call of Duty, but I know Black Ops takes place in the past, so maybe it's the first one. But then again, there was a Black Ops in the future, so maybe it's the 3rd Gulf War. I don't know, man. Yeah. I was joking around with some of my team today. I was like, they should call this game Call of Duty Black Ops 6 Gulf War 2 Saddam's Revenge,
Uh-oh.
Even though he's dead, but yeah.
They need to use another title, man.
Yeah, but it's just Black Ops 6. And again, I found, Carlos, I know you're way out because I was like, wasn't the last one 3? But if you count all the other ones that don't have numbers, it is 6.
Yeah. They have there's a lot of ones that they've thrown in there that didn't have a number to it. So it is slightly confusing. I also believe that that rumor release date is October 25th. So we will see if
right. Yeah.
That's accurate. But yeah, that's what we know so far.
Yeah.
October 25th.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, that I was expecting November. I guess the Assassin's Creed doesn't have to change their date anymore.
Yeah. Again, if Adam was here, he'd go crazy, but I don't really have anything.
I don't want to.
Carlos is the one. It's the one. This is it.
This is it.
Let me just make a quick comment.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll learn more about Call of Duty. Obviously this news came out today, but I'm just going to say this right now. The new trailer they released for Space Marines 2, that looks badass. That's the game I'm looking forward to playing this fall.
Oh,
and that's coming in September. So, Adam and I are excited for that one. So I didn't want to plug that for sure.
Cool. All right, let's move on.
Oh,
what's up, Manny? You got something to say about Call of Duty?
Oh, not Call of Duty. Slight addition. So, for those of you who, you know how like for your Xbox, once you connect it to your PC, it automatically senses that it's an Xbox controller. So apparently, I don't know when they did this, but Hi-Fi Rush has a PlayStation controller support and it uses all the haptic feedback shit, and so does Hellblade.
Uh-oh.
So
Could be a clue there.
Just want to let you know. I didn't like. I usually have to run a PlayStation sort of go between sort of driver thing. For some reason, it all works. So there you go.
I don't know the exact date, but at some point, Sony did make the drivers available so that they can be used for this purpose. As I had the same experience with Ghostwire Tokyo, where I plugged in my DualSense and went with no software, everything fine, even the haptic feedback.
Yeah.
So I think this is just a case of at some point Sony just made the drivers available so that you don't need to run around, which is again one of those weird Sony things. Like, why not just make it available from day one? You know?
Yeah, I agree with that.
I know for granted, I think Ghostwire though. That I definitely think that they had definitely both of those games are all both PlayStation 2 and 4 games and the 5 games. Yeah, and all the haptics and stuff work for it too. Like, you know, you have the hard presses and all that stuff that works for both hi-fi and this one. Senua doesn't have that though. Theirs is pretty normal stuff.
Yeah.
Even Steam started listing that game support DualSense at some point. So I'm certain that's what happened. That Sony just said, "Okay, here's our drivers, go wild," and then that's it.
Oh, here you go.
Makes sense. All right, moving on here. This hilarious. All right, so apparently, and I don't know if anybody on the panel watched this. There was Sony apparently held a corporate strategy meeting, and there was a segment called the Creative Entertainment Vision, where they kind of outlined their plans for the next 10 years or so, right? And they talked to some other partners and developers and stuff, and one of them was our good friend Neil Druckman, and he said something very interesting. He says that Naughty Dog's game, the next game that they're working on, the upcoming title, and here's a quote, could redefine mainstream perceptions of gaming. Now, we and other people have accused Neil Druckmann of being pretentious, to say the least. And this claim doesn't really help much, does it, bro? It's going to redefine our perceptions of gaming. The next Naughty Dog game.
Well, if he wants to make expectations even lower, maybe he'll succeed at that.
Oh shit!
Because I don't see anything coming out of them that's improving, any part of this industry.
Yeah, so Chris, what's your take on this fucking ridiculous statement?
It's just arrogance. I really think he thinks he's like the American Miyamoto or something. Like, he's redefining gaming and he's making all these innovative, original things. And it's like you remastered one of your hit games twice already. Like, you're not doing anything new. Like, you did a bunch of sequels and you did a bunch of sequels to the other one. You remastered them like 2 or 3 times. You remastered the second one, which was already out on last gen. It's the same version. And it's like, oh, no, trust. And you cancel the multiplayer, by the way. But no, you're going to make something, evolutionary, right?
I mean, not even, Uncharted or, Last of Us have retreaded, have essentially revolutionized the industry, with the only factor being really just the story, right?
But that's not revolutionary either. The Last of Us is just a glory. Yeah, go ahead, Manny.
No, like Last of Us, and both of those are games that have the type of games that have already existed. They just looked at whatever else that the industry was doing and essentially just redid it. I mean, there wasn't anything revolutionary about those two games.
Nothing. It was just another fucking zombie game. Well presented, don't get me wrong. Yeah. Very well presented, but it was a zombie game at the end of the day. Let's be real here. I need to go off right now on Neil Druckmann. I think him, having a hit show has really inflated his ego, making a crazy statement like that. So, and he even talks about it's like, oh yeah, what we're doing now with gaming and TV is going to revolutionize everything. And I'm like, bro, literally, you can't be talking this arrogantly when you're literally just polishing off the same game and presenting out there. It reminds me of that episode of The Simpsons where Marge bought this like really expensive dress like cheaply, and then like all the highfalutin women were like, oh, that's a great dress, and then she had to keep impressing them, so she kept taking the same dress and redoing it over and over and over again, to try to impress people. I'm like, you're doing the same shit with The Last of Us. It's like you get remasters and remakes and all this shit. I'm like, come on, man, like you're devaluing this fucking franchise. But yeah, no, I think this dude's full of shit. He's full of himself, and I think Hollywood just got into his brain, man. What a crazy fucking statement. And remember, just to be fair, we gave Ken Levine the same type of shit when he made the same kind of statement 10 years ago. He's like, oh, I'm going to make a game that's going to revolutionize narrative. Word?
And Peter Molyneux.
Yeah,
so,
come on.
So we call,
and so because I see some guys in the chat go, "Oh, there's a hate boner for Neil Druckmann." No, we call this type of bullshit out whenever we see it. Neil Druckmann is not the first guy we've lobbied this at. You're being very fucking arrogant right now, bro. Yeah, that's a good point, Carlos. Very Peter Molyneux-esque. Oh, this will revolutionize the gaming industry.
We're Skittles, man.
Yeah, or Skittles. It was Skittles.
By the way,
remember Cube? What happened at? Would you finally get under a Cube, bruh? Come on now, fuck out of here with that shit. Go ahead.
Yeah. And by the way, we have called out Kojima on his bullshit when he talks about
Skittles,
Yeah, where he's like, I want to revolutionize the industry. I'm like, you really,
so
Kojima, you've totally ushered in a whole new genre of games where you walk all over the place.
Yeah.
I mean, it just is what it is. I'm glad that at least Kojima's taking a little bit of
themselves.
I'm glad that Kojima's at least doing something that isn't done so much. It is definitely like a weirded out take, like a weird distorted take on an action game. But at the same time, he could have taken that a little bit further. But is what it is. I mean, Neil Druckmann's thing, it doesn't. It's neither to me. For me, it's not neither here nor there. Whatever he says, sort of just goes in one ear and out the other. It doesn't really offend me. It doesn't make me mad or happy. It's just like, all right, whatever. You think that you're going to somehow revolutionize the industry?
Redefine gaming.
Redefine gaming when you're literally just taking other genres of games and just shining them up to its wonderful polish and then putting it out there. I mean, not really revolutionary. It just means you know how to detail some cars really good.
Or just redo a dress, many times,
Yeah, Kishak mentions how is he arrogant when he has the track record to back it up? He's never revolutionized anything.
He's never ever what's the track record? He hasn't revolutionized shit. Where's the revolution?
The guy literally took the road and The Walking Dead and literally made an action horror game.
Literally what it is. Come on now, Rich. I hear you trying to interject in here. Go ahead.
Yeah. So let me say a few quick things. First and foremost, I want to say I'm surprised you guys don't want to see The Last of Us PSVR 2, and then you have the ability to kill Joel. Spoiler alert for those who didn't play Last of Us 2, but you should have played it by now. Come on now, guys. We're already on a remaster.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They've been remastered plenty of times, so, and will be again very soon,
For Neil Druckmann, I like Last of Us 1 fine enough. Didn't need a 2 personally. Again, let's see how he revolutionized the industry with this thing, because usually when it comes to revolution, they don't come in AAA games, by the way, guys. They usually come with lower budgeted titles. So
yeah,
let's see how much they revolutionize the industry. I wish to be honest, I wish they would go back to having a little bit of fun.
We've gone after.
Go ahead, Carlos.
We've gone after Cliffy B for inflated egos. We've gone after John Carmack for inflated ego. Like it's not. Yeah, I know. It feels like we're piling on Neil Druckmann, but we literally do this for all big-headed developers.
Again, we've been doing this for over 12 years. People, you go back. We have the track record of calling out arrogance in these fucking developers. We do it all the time. And we're not going to suddenly go, oh no, we can't do that with Neil Druckmann. We got to treat him with special kid gloves. Fuck that. You know?
Yeah, it is what it is. So again, now I'm just going to wait for him to show it. But now he has something. Now he has to live up to his claim. Because if it comes out, we're just getting another action game where a guy shooting a bunch of thousands and thousands of people, you know. Well, what's that? You know?
Yeah.
I made a joke on Twitter. They're going to bring back Way of the Warrior and revolutionize fighting games.
There you go. You know.
But then I realized Vivendi or Universal Vivendi merged with Activision. So theoretically, Microsoft owns Way of the Warrior and they own Crash Bandicoot.
That's crazy.
Yes.
I didn't think about that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, never bring that one back.
Yeah. The Way of the Warrior.
Find the way, no charge.
Find the Way of the Warrior. People don't know that shit, man.
They don't know that.
We know. All right. Any last thoughts on Mr. Druck? By the way, I got to say this about Neil because just real quick, I just find it very interesting how people feel strongly about this guy in both directions. You know, very interesting because right now, look at the chat. They're not happy with what we're saying about Mr. Druckmann. You know, and Kishak, I know you're not saying this about us, but no one on this podcast is being anti-Semitic because we're questioning Mr. Neil Druckmann. I didn't even know this motherfucker was a Jew. I didn't know, you know, until like the award show that I was at. And yes, I got to meet him. I was like, oh shit, he's from Israel. I had no idea. And then I felt dumb afterwards. Like, oh, Druckmann. Okay, yeah. But no, none of that here. We're calling out the arrogance that we've been calling out with countless other developers and publishers for fucking years. You know,
granted, when he did start like at Naughty Dog, his
David Jaffe too. Fuck that guy. Anyway, go ahead.
He was a lot. His accent was a little bit more heavier back in the early days.
Yeah, but yeah, none of that's going on here. We're just questioning the arrogance of this quote. Go ahead, Rich.
I just want to add on this last point. I think the people that are defending. I just want to say this to all of you. Go back and watch that grounded documentary of all that Naughty Dog went through as a studio when making The Last of Us Part 2. The fact that they had all this stuff happening with the pandemic, the layoffs, the cuts, and then having all these ambitious ideas and having to change some stuff. This is why I say it's a very dangerous statement to say that, because you see how much that studio went through with making that game. So now if they're trying to make something even more ambitious, there's going to be some bad that comes with that as well. So that's all I'm saying. Got to hold him accountable for that statement later. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah. All right, man. Go ahead. Any last thoughts on this?
I don't know. Again, I'll see. We'll see what he's got. If he's got something, he's
show
got something. But I don't know. But I doubt the industry is going to get revolutionized by that.
It's not.
It'll probably. I'll tell you this. It'll probably be a very slick game like they make. That's the one thing you can't say that's wrong with Naughty Dog. They make some damn nice quality games. They work well. The stories are could be good, questionable at sometimes, but still they're good. They do good work. So. That's at least one thing I'll be assured of when that mysterious title comes in 5 years from now.
Yeah, we'll see. If it revolutionizes your shit, go ahead, man. I hope so. Go ahead, Carlos. I think what I was going to say is tied into what Kishak's comment here. Go ahead.
Yeah, he says, but people hate it when AAA's play it safe. There's no way in winning for them. But he's never played it. He's never been revolutionary. That's the whole thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's always played it
The
safe.
definition. I'm sorry. This the definition of playing safe. Making a fucking zombie game is the definition of playing it safe, man. You know, come on now. You know.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like you just took what was the thing at the time? Walking Dead.
And
It's an Uncharted Walking Dead.
Yeah, and the
Uncharted Walking
road.
Dead.
You know, it's like, come on,
And
now.
the road combined together into a game.
That's all it is.
What is Uncharted? What is Uncharted? Uncharted is literally
Tomb Raider with a guy.
It's Tomb Raider with a guy.
Remember what it used to be called? Remember what people used to call it? Dude Raider.
Dude Raider.
Yeah, come on now. This
And
studio has never taken chances. And
But
before that, didn't they do Jack and Daxter? Platforming games, mascot platforming games.
Mascot.
You know, come on now.
And the game that they changed around to fit the times. So when they
Made it darker and shit. Yeah.
they made it darker and edgier
Mm-hmm.
because again, like they're not taking chances.
Let's
They're
go
just-
back. Where the Warrior? What was that taking advantage of? The
It
fucking
was a
fighting
Mortal
game
Kombat
scene.
clone.
Come on, guys. This guy hasn't revolution. Okay, granted,
Chris,
he wasn't there at that point. He wasn't
wasn't
there.
there.
But Naughty Dog has not revolutionized anything. Let's just be real here. You know.
Yeah, I would say the greatest strength of Naughty Dog is literally taking what already exists, which is not a bad
polishing
thing,
it
and
like
then
a
polishing it to its nicest
You
sheen.
know?
What was the big thing that they were talking about on Uncharted? They weren't talking about the gameplay. In fact, a lot of people panned that original gameplay, especially that stupid vehicle sequence or the endings of a lot of their games. But the thing that they sort of came down on, they not came down on, but they sort of like, oh my God, this is great, is the acting, the performance.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing I feel like that's one thing they could say that they champion.
Yeah, they took that shit to the next level. The like motion
performances
capture
of the
with it, like the
characters.
character. Like before, it used to be, kind of like the way it still is done now with like animation. You're in a studio in a booth, reading your lines, right? And they kind of, they didn't invent it, but they really, like you said, man, he pushed the whole idea of like, let's have all the actors in mocap together and doing their thing. For sure.
No, that's a big one. Essentially, that side of the thing.
Yeah.
And obviously because the general public, when it comes to like understanding games, hey, it's like a movie, but it's a game, right?
Yeah.
That's always been a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, cinematic. That's always been a thing without the industry, and it's always been a thing that it's easy for people to understand. If film is the high bar of of entertainment.
But yeah, no, this guy doesn't have a track record of revolutionizing anything.
I mean, I'm more interested to see what he believes a revolution is in a time when he, when him at Naughty Dog was just him essentially just taking what already existed and making it even shinier and prettier and having really good acting.
Yeah.
You know, it'd be interesting. I feel like
Go ahead, Carlos.
it'll be funny. It'll be funny if Neil Druckman's definition of innovating and doing all these game changing ideas is similar to the Kojima thing, where it's like cinematic Hollywood tie-in type content.
Yeah,
I was just thinking that it's like, because he's really in this interview, he's really talking up the marriage between gaming and movies and TV shows. So, we've kind of been there before. There was a little game called Quantum Break, for example. And we call that Kojima too when he talked about that shit, because he didn't say directly. He didn't say directly, but he was trying to say like, I want to make something new by mixing FMV basically with a video game. We've been there before, guys.
Yeah. In fact, most of his games were panned for the fact that he had such long cinematics. In fact, just to put this out there, back in the day when you used to get those little bit of paperwork, you used to do those reviews. What were the things that they said you couldn't say? You couldn't talk about how long the cinematics were.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Kishak says, I just think a lot of people want to see Neil fail because he's risen to high in the gaming industry. I agree, but at least for us, I mean, The Last of Us 2 is one of the best-selling games on PlayStation, and The Last of Us TV show is one of the most popular shows last year. So I think he's doing pretty good. Yeah, he does have a lot of haters, but he's doing good.
Yeah, I mean,
and again, we're not attacking the man. We're attacking the ridiculous fucking statement that he just.
Yeah,
made,
it's a little bit of a. Yeah, I don't believe it'll be anything revolutionary. I believe it'll be something that already exists that's very shiny.
Yeah, how many times haven't we heard this from countless other creators? None of them have delivered.
Yeah.
So color me skeptical with this current statement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
all right. Yeah. Go
we'll
ahead.
see what he does.
Yeah, we'll see.
We
show it, bro.
We grew up in an era with a whole bunch of Peter Molyneux and No Man's Sky and Star Citizen and Fat Anorexics. Shout out. We're skeptical beans. Where there's a track record that is pretty consistent.
Yeah, I mean, about Sean Murray.
There's
Sean Murray.
I forgot you had No Man's Sky. Oh
I'm gonna say this though, like with all obviously with all the claims that he did make, he eventually
got it right. Yeah,
do everything that he said they were gonna do. It just wasn't at launch.
Yeah, that was hilarious. I did literally said yes to everything. But again, you could go back to those old.
Like it's not like he did. It's not like Peter Molyneux where he's like, you could grow a tree, you could watch your family grow, and it's all this crazy like this stuff that sounds awesome and amazing. And again, hearing it from a British person makes it even better. It's like he's
makes it sound more credible.
He's spitting gold in your face, but we learned our lesson. So just
tell me more, British man.
Take this comment with the biggest grain of salt. He may think it's going to change the industry, but I don't think it's going to change the industry.
Also for creators, something can appear more elevated than it is when it's personal to you as a piece of art.
Yeah.
So that could also be another factor when it's relevant to you. It could seem grandeur than it actually is.
Wasn't Neil also saying he didn't want to do another game again? He doesn't know if he has another game in him.
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, but maybe he changed his mind now.
I guess something happened.
Yeah. That's a whole other conversation because I personally don't really like it when a creator is like really like, okay, here's the thing. It's good to talk up your stuff, but when you talk about it like it's the greatest thing ever, then I'm like, I don't know about that, bro. Have a little humility,
I mean, James Cameron does the same thing whenever he makes an Avatar film.
Oh yeah, then that bothers me too. I'm like, come on, bro, scale it back. Like, and James Cameron's my favorite director, but I mean, was like, bro, chill with that shit, man.
Talk about that dude fucking flexes though.
Yeah,
like he literally will say, "Oh yeah,
listen." Again, just because I know there's a lot of people in the chat mad at us right now. Just for perspective, Neil Druckman is humble as fuck compared to James Cameron. To James Cameron, and he's my favorite director of all time. But that dude is fucking arrogant, boy.
Oh, totally arrogant.
Absolutely full of himself. Again, we call it, we see it, people.
But for some reason, somehow, despite all of that stuff, billions of dollars his films make. He can make like every like 5 years since the last Avatar film? No,
it was longer. It was longer than that. Way longer than that. It was like more than a decade. Yeah, something like that.
Holy shit! Yeah,
and it's a movie made bank.
And somehow that dude just we all went to see it. So
yeah, I could go down that rabbit hole because it's fun. It's so fascinating how both Avatar movies have made billions and billions of dollars. No cultural impact. No memes.
No.
Isn't that wild? Look, it's not like fucking Dune. Memes everywhere for that shit. There's nothing like that for there's nothing like that for Avatar at all.
No. He somehow got away with no memery that comes out, but other than blue cat people.
Yeah.
Well, the first one is understandable. The first one, it had the 3D gimmick,
Yeah.
and also had the extended run because of the
meme
snow
of that.
stuff.
The meme of the original one, Papyrus. The stupid font from the original Avatar was that shitty Papyrus font that comes with Windows.
Oh man, yeah.
that's the biggest meme that came out of that first one.
Isan Al-Gaib. The meme I'm specifically seeing is that anime one with the butterfly.
Oh yeah.
By the way, your boy got that copy of Dune 2. Let's go. You know? Yeah. Not to go too off topic, but this is one of those things where something's in your face the whole time. You don't notice it because you're looking for something else. So I've been okay. The package was delivered a week ago, right? I've been going to my mailroom every fucking day looking for this package. Can't find it, right? I'm looking for, because Amazon, when they ship you DVDs, it's like in kind of like a little slip thing or whatever, like a little envelope. So I'm looking for this fucking envelope.
Is it in a box?
The whole time, right? Looking for this envelope. And then yesterday I received another package and I look up, I see a small box with my name on it. I'm like, what the fuck is that? Because I had ordered some strainers, right? I'm like, I guess my strainers are here. I thought it was coming out in June. Okay. Get the box. I'm like, it's kind of light. I'm like, don't tell me. Get the package up. It's fucking Dune. It's been there the whole time. In a box. I'm like, what are you doing? You know?
Like, Shahalut?
Yeah. Isan Al-Gaib. You know, it was.
So then that's what was in the box.
Yes,
There
exactly.
you go.
Going back to Cube.
You stuck your hand in the box, you're like...
No, but that's in the box.
Killer.
Or if you want to liken it to the Cube, Mr. Peter Molyneux, that's what's in the center of the Cube. My copy of Dune 2. All right, man, let's move on. Okay, another thing that came out of that. By the way, guys, in the chat, did any of you catch that presentation? It was like a Sony thing. I had no idea it was even happening until I was going through Discord. I was going through Discord, like I usually do, because you guys, the fans are fucking awesome, dropping all the new stuff. I'm like, there was a Sony thing. I was so busy fucking covering Microsoft Build this week that I didn't have a chance to see it. But apparently, one of the a developer, a PlayStation executive, I should say, said that technological advancements will enhance. Basically, he basically said that in the coming years that games are going to shift from graphics or visuals to immersive narratives. Very interesting. I don't know about that. And I'm saying this as a guy who likes his narratives in games. I don't know about that because I realize I'm in a minority when it comes to that shit. It
just sounds like vaporware right there.
Yeah,
like, I don't believe that everything is just going to shift over to narrative.
Well, not necessarily. I think this is a precursor. He's kind of dog whistling that they're going to leverage AI.
Yeah,
or narratives.
Dog whistling. She flat out says it right here. I just read this quote right now. In terms of gaming's future, I envision games becoming more personalized due to advances in technology and AI, enabling customized experiences for each player.
Why didn't he just say that off the bat? Like, don't dance around it. Like, that's what they're going to do. They're going to have AI come up with on-the-fly narratives. You're going to have a choose-your-own-adventure.
Choose-your-own-adventure, yeah.
With games, yeah.
Oh, man. I don't even know if I want to keep going with it because it's so fucking depressing when you think about that shit. Like, imagine, like, you get a book and, like, the story's always changing on you. It's like, what happened to the story? You're just going to let fucking AI just make the shit up for you, I don't know, man, but I don't know. It was a very strange comment. I saw some of the guys in the chat talking about it, and I kind of agreed with, especially you two, Mick. I kind of definitely agree with your general assessment, and you have a really good question for this Sunday about it, which I'm looking forward to answering. Chris, AI is all over this fucking shit right now, man. Like this, like the guy, what he said, it's all over this,
Yeah, that's when you said the initial quote. I'm like, oh, he's. Well, I didn't know the rest of it. I was like, he's dog whistling AI. When he's talking about immersive narratives, he's talking about customized experiences, and that spells problems for writers for video games in the future because if they're going to leverage that, the writer's room is going to be empty. Right?
Yeah.
You're going to be out of a job.
Yeah, and also please forgive me. I've been covering a fuck ton of AI this week, and I'm kind of done talking about it. Microsoft fried my brain with all that shit. And then obviously, you know what? I'm not going to get into it. June, man, June is going to be crazy with all these AI laptops dropping. You know. All right,
There
man.
you go.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to other things. I put this one in here specifically because I saw a lot of guys in the Discord talking about it. There's a new PlayStation game called Concord from Firewalk Studios. We talked about them. A new PvP multiplayer FPS game. So I'm wondering, is this one of those like, you know, games as a service games that we're talking about? It seems like it could be, but I'm personally not interested in this because it's, you know, PvP multiplayer game. I'm like, that's already instant no for me. But I don't know if any of you guys here in the panel have have any interest in this. Rich, you had anything about Concord, or care about it?
Yeah, the only thing I remember from Concord is the cinematic trailer they showed us in a PlayStation showcase event some time ago.
Yeah, the CG trailer. Yeah.
Yeah, and I see that this news post was made today, but there's nothing, no gameplay, nothing. Obviously, it says they're still working on this game, but it's coming out later this year for PS5 and PC. So,
I'm looking at the trailer. I remember this.
So the question I would like to ask PlayStation is, why don't you just show this and the showcase event that you're going to have within the next couple of weeks? I don't know when it's going to happen. Obviously, it's going to happen at some point. I don't understand why they would put this post out. Just show it in that event so that we know it's actually coming out this year.
Yeah. It said announced during PlayStation Showcase, or it's confirmed that they're going to be announcing it. They showed it last year. So are you going to show it this year? I'm confused by this.
Yeah, that's what I was confused also. Hopefully they are, because we need to see it if it's coming out this year. I mean, we're at the halfway point of the year officially in about 2 weeks. So
yeah, I'm reading this because I'm reading this from PlayStation blog. This all sounds like a bunch of filler, saying a lot of things without saying anything at all. Oh wow, what a waste of a fucking article that was. 3 paragraphs, nothing of substance. It just ends with, there's so much we can't wait to share with you, and we're looking forward to fully reviewing Concord ahead of launch next year. So the game's dropping next year then. In the meantime, you can keep up with us on social media. Wow. Didn't say anything. It's just, we've been working hard on this game. What is the point of this shit? But at least it was a blog post and not a video, you know? Because we complain about that all the time. It's like, why wasn't this announcement a blog post? At least thank you for making it a blog post, you know? But still a waste of time. All right, and the last thing I want to talk about, this was interesting. It probably is insider baseball for, you know, a lot of people, but our fans have the same interests we have, and they like the inside baseball shit. So we're going to get into it.
Okay.
IGN Entertainment, who is owned by Ziff Davis, has acquired Eurogamer, Game Informer, VG247, Rock Paper Shotgun, and more. Why aren't people speaking out more about this acquisition? This seems pretty gobbly right there, you know, gobbling everything up. Wow. And I'm okay. GI, it says, I guess that's Game Informer, right? Yo, that is fucking insane. Okay, so let me read this. It's funny, I'm reading this from IGN, you know, talk about conflict of interest there. IGN Entertainment has acquired the Gamer Network family of digital brands for an undisclosed sum. Gamer Networks include Game Industry Biz. Maybe I think that one is GI, not Game Informer. Game Informer is another one. Game Industry Biz, Eurogamer, Rock Paper Shotgun, VG247, and Dicebreaker. The business also holds shares in Outside Xbox, Digital Foundry, and Hookshot, which operates Nintendo Life, Push Square, Pure Xbox, and Time Extension. Holy shit!
Yep.
I didn't realize there was that many fucking websites.
Yep.
So now they're all under, and because of this, guess what happens? And this is just me speculating. It's already happened. Layoffs, redundancies. They're getting rid of them. So a bunch of people just said, "Hey, I just lost my job today." So anyway, IGN Entertainment is a division of Ziff Davis that includes IGN, Map Genie, How Long to Beat, and Humble Bundle. It has acquired the brands from PAX and New York Comic Con organizer ReedPop, which initially bought the Gamer Network back in 2018. Shit. Not included in the sale are UK-based events, EGX or MCM, or the digital brand Popverse. And that's all the story says right there. So I find it very interesting. I mean, I saw some people kind of, concerned about this, but there hasn't been that upcry, or upsurge of like people upset about this. That's a lot of fucking websites, man.
It's a lot of websites, but I mean, to be honest, like with the exception of a scant few, I almost feel like they're just gonna. I don't know why they bought a lot of those things, because they already have a lot of those things that already exist in there. A lot of their
I'm guessing
already.
ReedPop was just selling, and they were like, "Fuck it, we'll buy it." By the way,
they own
go ahead.
they own. I mean, IGN does own game trailers and a bunch of other things too. So
yeah. Blitz says, "Did you see Jeff Keighley wanted to buy Game Industry, got outbid?" Yeah, I saw that. What the hell is Jeff Keighley going to do with Game Industry biz? That's a weird one.
To be honest, I would actually much rather have him have it, because he is, at his core.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that, but I'm like, why would he buy a company that deals with the game industry when he doesn't even talk about layoffs? Game Industry writes a lot about fucking layoffs. Go ahead, Rich. And Rich, what are your thoughts about that? Like, give us your thoughts on Jeff Keighley thing, then your thoughts on this acquisition and overall.
Oh, absolutely. Well, first and foremost, Jeff Keighley debunked that. He made a comment and said, "No, this news is not true." Now, I don't know if that's, I don't know how valid that is. Obviously, but I will say this: whoever is the website that reported on this initially, that made the comment that there was somebody in the industry that wanted to acquire all of these sites so that they can further push their narrative, I'm pretty sure he's going to put that person on the list of do not contact this publication about any opportunities.
Yeah.
But in terms of this news, one thing I will say, Digital Foundry is not impacted by any of this, because I saw there was a couple of tweets that came out said they weren't impacted by this. So that's one thing we know won't be changing. It does make you wonder, obviously, IGN wanting to acquire all these sites, it makes you wonder how they're going to use those sites.
Yeah.
Whether or not they're going to be used to further, expand their network. I mean, IGN is already number one, so I don't really understand how they're going to use those sites to just have more people writing. I did see, like you said, there were layoffs. But my official comment on all of this, I'm glad that the coalition is an independent website.
Ask you,
we don't have to worry.
Yeah, when are you getting acquired?
Yeah, no. We don't need to worry, because I see a lot of these websites. A lot of people criticize the way that they run their operation. Kotaku, for example, one website that, they have some controversial stuff that some articles and stuff that go up on there. So I like that we're not associated with any of these people when they're ever going to be thought of as being the same type of website to be on the same level of the people that do all these other things online. So I'm glad that we're independent. We don't have to worry about something like this. But yes, I would be concerned as to what exactly IGN is going to do with all these other websites, because it's just, I guess we'll have to wait and see how that pans out.
Yeah, because, and again, this is now me being like extra cynical, after, Microsoft started just shutting down studios. Like, it seems to me that it would be in IGN's best interest to shut these websites down and just stomp on the competition.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I don't know if that's going to happen, but that's the first thought that came to my mind. I'm like, okay, buy these sites and kill them. And you're the only one left in town,
Well, Well, I would say that anybody that is still working at these companies, obviously some people already lost their jobs, but any of the people that are still working at the websites that did get acquired, I would be concerned about what this means in the future. Because they can use that as an option. If they see it's too expensive over time, they're losing money, they can easily get rid of these websites as well. So that's why I said anyone that's working at any of these publications, I think they should be concerned about what their plans are long term if things don't pan out with the website that they're on right now.
Mm.
Yeah, and it goes to I don't know if maybe I'm connecting dots I shouldn't be connecting, but to me this is another like instance of how unstable game journalism is at the moment. We already seen a bunch of shit happening, so I don't know if it's related, but it could be. And this is something I talked about before, and I'm obviously saying this as a journalist, right? I understand why people would rather watch a streamer play a game, right, than read an article. Not only would you potentially get more entertainment, but you're actually interacting with somebody. It's not just a byline. And in a lot of instances, not to go down this rabbit hole, in a lot of instances, a lot of these cats, gaming journalists especially, extremely arrogant and dismissing of their fans, Yep. Matter of fact, I'll tell you a story, and this happened to me this week, right? Not gaming related, but it's a journalism thing, right? I wrote an article about the iPad Pro, and I complained that I have to download like Google apps individually instead of just having everything open in tabs, right? And one of the readers said, "Hey, you can do that," and he was kind of flippant about it. He was kind of, the usual thing. People are very hostile online, right? So I tried it out. And he was right. I could just like on my browser, I could have everything opened up in the tabs on Chrome. So I went into the comments section and I thanked him for pointing it out, and I apologized for making that mistake. He comes back and says, but I'm paraphrasing, but he basically said the equivalent of, "Holy shit, you actually answered me and you were nice about it, unlike these other journalists who always just fight me whenever I try to correct them." And I replied to him like, "Yeah, I was plainly wrong, and you corrected me. I'm thanking you for that." And then he became cool, and that goes to show you the state of journalism. It's like a lot of journalists, and across all fields, they feel that they are the authority, unquestioned authority. No one can ask them anything. They know better than the readers. No, you exist. Your livelihood comes because of your readers. And when you forget that, you fail, So that's something I've never lost track of. Even when I get shitted on by some of these assholes on Twitter, I'm here not to please my peers, but to help people, And if I fuck up, I will own up to it, because that's what a man does. You own up to that shit. You don't just go make up excuses like a fucking bitch.
Yeah, you don't double down.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, fuck that. So I understand why gaming journalism and journalism in general is in the state it's in. A lot of these cats, my peers, are full of themselves. Bro, you're on a fucking website writing blogs effectively. You ain't shit, And I'm saying this about myself too. I ain't shit either. I'm just an asshole on a website expressing his opinion, right? But the difference is, I don't think I'm better than our goddamn readers, man. I'm either on their level or even sometimes below, because some of these cats are smart, man. Look at some of these. Look at the cats in our Throwdown Discord. Half those guys know way more than I do, and way more passionate. Mad respect to them, And I know I just went off on a fucking tangent rant, but it's still related. It's like, this is part of why journalism is in the tank right now, because these fucking idiots think they're better than their readers. When you think that way, you're done. And that's why we're seeing all these websites close. And I'm sorry, I am still surprised that Kotaku is still around. I'm being real right now. Yeah. Go ahead, Brian.
Surprised it didn't get bought by IGN too.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just saying, just give it time, Tony, because the way that things are going, I think it's just a matter of time before it all goes under.
Yeah.
Either that or IGN buys them.
You know.
Uh oh.
A Black Metal Gamer, $2, bruh. He goes, should journalists learn to weld or work retail? What's that old saying? We learn to code.
Learning code.
Although that's not viable because fucking AI is going to do that shit now. You know? Because AI is going to do that shit. And it's also going to write articles too. Fuck.
I mean, like, I think the
Well,
oh, good.
IGN, the Microsoft, the games media.
I will say this: that the AI can write the articles, but you still need someone to edit those articles because the AI, everything ain't going to be accurate.
You know.
So, yeah,
that is true.
So the coalition is just going to be rich in AI.
You know.
Oh, I never said that. Absolutely not. I don't think the coalition will be experimented with any AI. I'm just saying that's
fully fully human written articles.
It's funny you say that because my boss literally said that may be one of our selling points in the end. Human written. Think about that.
Human written
articles. How insane is that? What the hell are we doing, man? Man, don't get me started.
You think it's gonna be like, remember, you know when stuff is made, it's like, oh, this is handmade.
Yeah,
it's like it's human written.
Yeah, human written.
Drawn.
You know,
like when it comes to like that whole thing about like, what is it? About journalism sort of being contentious toward the people toward their readers. It wasn't always like that. It wasn't always that sort of situation. This obviously, about 2012, it seemed like everything sort of changed around. Where now everybody is, all these guys think they're the experts, and all these guys think they're better than the people. Like, the only reason why you exist is because people read your work. And nowadays, a lot of these people, you can't even tell who these people are, right?
They're very interchangeable when it comes to their ideas. Like you read like one article from one person,
ideas, and then even phrasing. And to be honest, it's like you might as well be replaced by AI if you're all going to be writing exactly the same way and holding the same sort of opinions about things.
Yeah, and think about it like this, right? You guys all saw that scandal with CNET when it was discovered that a bunch of their articles, the news articles, were written by AI. Think about it like this, right? This went on for months and no one noticed. Yeah. Because like you said, these articles may as well be written by fucking AI with these, repeating lines and stuff. And I'm glad you bring this up because I'm actually, this has been a little bit of an obsession with mine for this year specifically. It's not even AI related, but I guess it could be. Like trying to not say the standard thing, like instead of saying grain of salt, find a different way of saying it, be a little bit more creative with it. But you're right. It's like a lot of these articles are interchangeable, man. They really are, and I'm talking about across the board in all kinds of journalism. It's a lot of the same, spiel. Again, just the fact that CNET got away with this for months and no one noticed says a lot,
Wasn't it because a bunch of the information was all incongruent? It was all wrong.
Yeah, but I think it was because the AI was so good at mimicking the fucking humans. But no, when people were like, well, some of this shit is wrong, like when people, like there was like a tennis article or something from some other website. I think it was Sports Illustrated or some other sports thing where they was like, how to play tennis. Like the most crucial thing with tennis is you need to have a ball. I'm like, what? What the fuck?
Nobody bothered to read that.
Yeah, and then it turned out the author was a fake bio created by AI, and the image was created by AI. What are we doing as a society, man?
Again, like why? Like I don't understand why we're so willing to hand over our creative process to the AI.
Yeah, and
like,
by the way, I know we're off on a huge tangent right now, but this is why a lot of people got really pissed off at Apple for that iPad Pro commercial. Did you guys see that shit? For you guys who don't know, basically they had like a press, right? It had a bunch of guitars, paintings, all human creativity, right? And it all gets crushed to have an iPad, and people were like, "What the fuck?" It's like. Like they felt it was a representation of like what's happening. It's like crushing all human ingenuity into a lifeless machine. Somebody said it's like this is the opposite of the 1984 commercial, right? 1984 commercial was vibrant human destroys monochrome society. Then this one, monochrome society destroys vibrant creativity. Like shit, that's something,
It's a lot of this is still on brand because Neil Druckman did also make a comment about using AI.
Oh yeah, they're all doing it. They're all doing it.
They're all doing it.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys saw Samsung's commercial, for their tablets. Like basically, it was a woman sitting in that same room, and she's like drawing shit by hand. Anyway, go ahead, Carlos.
Since we're talking about technology,
Yeah.
If Windows is going to be based on the cloud, does it mean that Windows is going to be always online?
Yeah, I was wondering. You know what? Let's not go down that rabbit hole because I got some thoughts on that. But yeah, IGN, you're now a giant monster.
You are now the Microsoft.
You are now the Microsoft
video games
of video game journalism. There
video
you go.
game journalism.
Yeah, Blitz.
Go
ahead, Manny.
So the thing that interested me because also Eurogamer owns what is it? Own this portion of Digital Foundry.
Yeah.
So like obviously Digital Foundry is probably going to continue as they were. They probably can't get fired because all they do is all that company does have in them is just stock. To be honest, I would hope that they would possibly want to buy some of that stock back.
Yeah, I don't know. But IGN does own them too now.
Not all of them.
Yeah, not all of them, but they do. It said it
They
right there in
own
the article.
stakes in them, but they don't own them.
Yeah. Are you sure about that? Because that's what it said here.
No, they're not owned. They have stakes in them or something like that.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, they hold shares in Digital Foundry.
They hold shares in their little company. Because if they did or were owned by them, wouldn't they? Why would they need a Patreon?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So yeah, you're right. I just read it. Yeah, they own shares. So there you go. Interesting times, man. All right, let's start wrapping things up here. Rich, what's going on with the coalition? I imagine things are starting to ramp up as we get closer to Summer Game Fest.
Oh yeah, it's going to be very busy. We got about 2 more weeks to go to Summer Games Fest. Still have a lot of reviews that are currently being worked on behind the scenes, and I'm just getting stuff ready. So I'd like to encourage all of you. If you are looking forward to Summer Games Fest, if you're looking forward to the Xbox Showcase and whatever other events that are going to be happening around that time, definitely stay tuned. I will obviously be here on Throwdown to talk about a few things, and there's going to be some stuff on the website as well. So just stay tuned. Fun times ahead.
Yeah, no, you're going to be like our man on the ground, covering this. So it's going to be dope,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, do we have anything else to plug around here? I think we should be good. All right, man. So make sure you follow Throwdown on Twitch and Twitter. Join the Discord where the conversations and the rumors are always popping. We're also on YouTube, so make sure you hit like, subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified of when we go live. We are also on every podcast app on the planet. Throwdown Show, that's 2 words, Throwdown Show. And throwdownshow.com to listen to past episodes. Links to everything down below. Once again, I was your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I was joined by Emilio Lopez.
See you next time.
Chris Seeley.
Hey, take care, everyone.
Carlos Romero.
Peace out.
Brett Murdoch. It's been real, party people. Richard Bailey Jr.
Have a good weekend, everybody.
And Brian Manjoma.
I find it funny how the first game to showcase the power of Unreal 5 is an Xbox exclusive.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
next gen.
yeah, that is true. Yeah, I did kind of went over my head for a little bit, but you're right. I didn't think about that. Very interesting. All right, man. So yeah, we will be back on Sunday, and for our American listeners, have a happy Memorial Day. We will see you on Sunday, the day before we feast on barbecue. Later.